Hi, everybody. It's Becky with A Better Way to Homeschool with another guest speaker for us. When I was a brand new homeschooler, I was completely outnumbered. I had 3.5 kids, soon to be 4 and 5, and I was up to my eyeballs in curriculum, couldn't handle everything that was going on. And I remember crying with a friend saying that I can't do this. I can't handle everything going on. And had that mom not taken the time to breathe wisdom and encouragement to me, I think I would have literally lost it in my first year of homeschooling. And I think that I'm not the only one that struggles with staying sane while being a mom, while being a wife, and while educating my children. Actually, I know I'm not alone in this. Homeschool sanity or insanity, depending on which side of the coin you're staring at today, is very common. And I am thrilled to introduce you to my friend, Melanie, Dr. Melanie Wilson with Psycho with Six is here with us today. So Melanie, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me.
And I was just sharing that when I first started homeschooling, I remember basically pulling my hair out. We started homeschooling when I had a fifth grader, a kindergartner, a 3-year-old that was terrified of balloons and umbrellas. And I was pregnant with number 4. And I remember sitting there with all my fancy, shiny curriculum and my lofty plans and my big fancy lesson plans, my kids that wouldn't cooperate, and I blew a circuit. I couldn't. And
Right.
I was saying that if I hadn't had a wise friend that took the time to breathe, Becky, just breathe, like wisdom over me, I think I would have needed a straitjacket. Like I think I would have literally gone insane.
Right.
So Melanie, before I ask you about your magic tips for finding homeschool
Yes,
sanity,
magic.
because I know you have a secret magic wand.
Yes,
So,
yes, for
would
sure.
you some people might not know how amazing you are. Could you tell us who you are and a little bit about your story?
How is that possible that
I
people
know,
don't know
right?
how amazing I am? Well, my story is very similar to what you were sharing at the beginning of your homeschooling journey, and in that I had quit counseling as a clinical psychologist to stay home with my kids and then to homeschool them. And I was very unsure about the whole thing. It's not what I wanted to do. It was
Right,
not my plan. And
right.
I had 2 kids at the time, and I was pregnant with a third. And I thought, okay, if God wants me to homeschool, then what I will do is I will homeschool preschool. So I
Right.
took my oldest and I was going to homeschool him for preschool. And I thought, I mean, seriously, how hard can that be?
Right?
It's really not too hard. I have a PhD, so this is nothing. And it turns out it was very, very hard because
Yes.
no homeschooling was getting done. And my house was a wreck. And my husband was very unhappy with me because the house was a wreck. And I never knew what we were having for dinner.
Right.
And I just knew that if I continued on that plan, which was no plan, on that path, I should say, if I continued on that path, that I was going to have to put my kids in school eventually, or I would be arrested.
Right.
My kids would be taken away. And there was also no possible way that I could have any more than the children I already had.
Right.
So I was very, very discouraged when someone introduced me to a woman named Fly Lady online. And I signed up for her free emails. And you would think that someone with a PhD would understand that you have to have routines. I didn't know that. I just thought that since I wasn't working and since I could create my own schedule, my own day at home, that I would just do things whenever. I would
Right.
just do them whenever,
Right.
and it turns out that that's not very effective. And I wanted the freedom of not having to do things at a certain time, but it was actually enslaving me not to have routines in my life. So finding Fly Lady and learning that I could have routines in my life that would free me up to enjoy my kids, enjoy homeschooling, and actually do it,
Right.
was just life-changing for me. And then I continued to homeschool. I learned that I absolutely loved it more than any of the other things that I wanted to do, which was write and speak. I loved it so much, and I continue to love it. I still have 3 kids at home that I am homeschooling. And eventually I realized that I needed something a little bit more in terms of organization. And so I ended up creating my own organization plan for me as for me as a homeschooling mom. And then the other problem that I had was I didn't have English curriculum that my kids didn't hate and despise and beg me not to do. And so I created my own language arts curriculum for elementary students. Yeah, why not? Why not? So that's my story in a nutshell.
Okay. Which is fantastic. And I love that. I love God's sense of humor. Okay. Because we ended up kind of in the same boat where I got tricked into homeschooling by my husband. He said, "Oh, just do it for a year. And when you hate it, you can quit." Like, he totally knew that I was going to love it. And then same thing, I ended up designing and writing and creating a lot of my own curriculum and stuff along the way too. So it's the same kind of thing, taking those talents and gifts and then applying them into our own home is really cool. But this keeping all the plates spinning at the same time, keeping everything. I had the same thing. At the end of the day, I didn't know what I was making for dinner. I didn't know that I didn't know when we first started homeschooling, I didn't know that you could have kids on a routine. I thought they ruled the universe. But no, they don't. So this whole idea of being a homeschooler, but staying sane, it didn't come easy for me at all at the beginning. I really struggled. So I'm super anxious for us to dive in, because I know that I'm not the only one that struggled with this at the beginning or that still struggles with it sometimes today. So I would love to hear your magic tips, because I think you had, I can't count very high. I think you told me you had 3 magic tips for finding homeschool sanity.
No magic. I
know.
And the first magic that I need to work is to remind my children that I am doing a live interview. And so any extra talking needs to be zipped.
My son poked his head in the door.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. So I don't have tips for you today specifically. They're not all specific to to getting your homeschool organized. It's more like in general homeschool sanity. And honestly, I could do a whole massive probably set of courses on homeschool sanity. But today I just want to give you 3 tips that really I think are just so critical and that can get you started. So the first tip is stop trying to do it all. That will make you crazy faster than anything. So whether it's the number of activities that you have your kids enrolled in, I think that's one of the things that I did right for my family. I did right for my family because my husband wouldn't tolerate anything else. He was very specific about what he was and wasn't willing to do with our kids' activities. And so, even now he has said, okay, you want our daughter to do volleyball, that's you. And now he is helping me because I'm going to be gone for a tournament. But, he made it very clear the kind of lifestyle that he wanted for himself and for our family. And I really shared that vision, but it was easier for me to get off track. And so he would just say, nope, we're not doing that. Yeah. And the same thing with speaking engagements for me, he would say, no, I really don't want to take care of 6 young kids while you go out of state to speak for $100.
Right?
No.
I don't know why.
Right. But I'm going to tell you, Becky, something that really bothers me. It bothers me so much because I have actually experienced the benefits of homeschooling in having a more relaxed lifestyle. And
Right.
when I am speaking to homeschoolers, when I say this, and it is not meant to be a joke, but it gets the biggest laughs of anything that I say, even my intentional jokes and humor. When I say you probably chose to homeschool because you wanted a more relaxed lifestyle, laughter breaks out every single time I say that. And
Right.
I don't think that's funny. I think that's incredibly sad because most of us did want that. We wanted a more relaxed lifestyle. We didn't want our kids exhausted from doing homework all hours of the night and, being in soccer and chess club and, every other activity. And we didn't want to be exhausted from, taking our kids to the usual things like doctor's appointments and, just those kinds of things that you have to do. And just like the regular things, or grocery shopping and church activities and those kinds of things. We didn't want to add so much to our plate, but somehow we've gotten to a place where we are doing more than traditional school parents. And I just think that has to stop. It has to stop, or homeschooling is going to, and it's fine. I am actually fine. If homeschooling just takes a downturn in general in the culture, that's okay with me. But it's not okay with me if families who really long for the incredible relationships that they can have with their children and the opportunity to teach their children their faith and to teach them in a way that helps their children to love learning and to excel. And if they want that and they can't have it because they're just buried in things that they think they need to do, that they assume they should do because other homeschoolers are doing them. I just think that's a tragedy. And I want to be a voice that says, you don't have to do this. I didn't do it. I did not do it. And my kids have gotten scholarships to go to college, and they are getting A's in college. I have a son who's doing great in his career. So it does not have to happen. My kids, my adult kids, have not come to me and said, why didn't you put me on a select soccer team? I'm suffering now. Nope. They don't ever say that to me. They don't. In fact, what they say to me is, I'm so thankful for the close family that we have. And I don't ever want that to end. Wow. That is what I want for the other families who long for that. And I just want to be a voice that stands against some voices in the homeschool community who say, well, you have to do more than one science curriculum because, the science curriculum that we have now, it's not enough. It's like, that's just so wrong. It's so wrong. Things like that. It just drives me crazy. And you have to have second graders writing out chapter summaries of all the books that they read. No. They also don't have to do that.
No.
I could go on, and I'm sure you would agree with me, but my basic point is, please do less than you're doing. If you do not have homeschool sanity, have a good discussion with your husband if you're married. Have a good discussion with a veteran homeschooler like what you had, who can look at what you're trying to do and laugh, because they probably will. Go, that's nuts. I would never be able to do all that.
Never.
And start to make some decisions. It's like the fear. I'm hoping that we can overcome the fear of missing out, which is a part of it.
Right.
Overcome the fear of missing out with the fear of missing what matters most, because those relationships and that relaxed lifestyle where you can, just enjoy learning and share your faith and your life with your kids along the way, that is worth fighting for. And it's worth skipping the select soccer team for. It's worth skipping the AP classes if you need to. Every family is different. And I'm not going to tell you what's most important to you, but if you are stressed out, overwhelmed, cut back. That is point number one.
Yeah. And I'm in complete and total agreement with you. And my kids are older too. So my youngest is 14. My oldest is 26. I've got one like this close to his bachelor's, a couple like doing concurrent learning at, high school and college. And, even with one that just started at the community college where we didn't dive deep into we didn't busy them up with paper. We did lots of talking about the purpose behind things and who is your audience and what is the goal in this, not generating a lot of paper. And even now, as he steps into college, we told him your number one goal this year is to become an expert help seeker. If you accomplish that goal, then you have nailed it, because there are resources that can help you learn anything that you need to learn, that they can help you succeed. But if you fail to ask for help, if you fail to look for assistance when you need it, then you're selling yourself short. Mm-hmm. So that's our total goal. The grades don't matter, because as long as you're pursuing getting assistance, the grades are going to follow. But the grades themselves have nothing to do with anything eternal. It's if I need something, how am I going to find that? And we can show our kids that. My washing machine didn't work this past week, and my husband had to go on a business trip. So this was a big deal because he had no clean underpants. So I need to fix this washing machine. And it turned out that we didn't get school done the day that I discovered that, okay, we need to figure out how to drain the washing machine. And there's a filter at the bottom of the machine that never has been cleaned. Guess what? It took 2 minutes once we figured it out. But that was our whole homeschool lesson of the day, was trying to get the washing machine repaired. Where do you find the help? And the kids are better for having worked together to solve that problem, even though they didn't hold a pencil that day. It's like the pencil didn't matter. But so anyway, so I love that. Stop trying to do it all.
Right.
Stop.
That's right.
Especially if you have multiple kids.
Yes.
Especially if you have multiple kids. You don't need to do 5 maths and 4 histories and
that is so true. So true.
Okay, so tip number 1. Tip number 2.
Okay, tip number 2 is, even after you have reduced the number of commitments and that you have and the things that you're trying to do, if you try to achieve anything without a plan, you're likely not to just fail, but to be fairly miserable in the process. And so here's what I mean. I talk to homeschooling moms all the time who say, you know what, I want to start getting regular exercise. I want to get organized. I really want to help my son get his math facts down. Okay. I mean, it could be any of those things.
Right.
And if all you are doing is talking about it, let me just tell you that the first thing that happens, we know from psychological research, is that you feel a relief because you say, yeah, I'm going to do that. Now I don't have to stress out about it because I know I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. But, and so then it's not bothering us. We don't have that anxiety that was motivating us before. So we just drop it. And then the school year goes by, the year goes by, and we haven't accomplished our goal. And, had the experience that we wanted. And we feel like a failure, and really it's not a personal failure. It doesn't mean that you don't have any self-discipline or you're lazy or anything like that. It just means you didn't have a plan. So we also know from research that when we tell people, I am going to do this task on this day at this time, we are hugely more likely to do it than people who don't choose a time when they're going to do it. Okay. So with that in mind, if getting organized, for example, is something that you really want to do, then I recommend that you create a plan. I've already created a plan, and you can use mine. It's called The Organized Homeschool Life. I was just thinking, I don't actually have the book right here in front of me, and now everything is falling. But I do have a planner that is based on the book right here.
Oh.
So what I did was I thought about all the areas of my life. I came up with a list of 52 different areas of my life that I wanted organization in. And it wasn't the typical areas. So it wasn't just kitchen, bathroom, that kind of thing. It was, I want to focus on my marriage. I want to get organized with, feeling connected, feeling close, having time together. I want to be organized in my parenting. I want to figure out how I want to, address discipline issues and to feel really connected to my individual kids. But you know what? Life just goes by so fast that I don't take the time to have that focus. And, things like, okay, it's fall right now. And for years, I was saying, I want to take the kids to a corn maze. Well, it never happened.
Right.
So, because I wasn't organized. I didn't have a plan. So I created a plan where I assigned these areas to a specific month of the year. And then I broke each of those areas down into 4 15-minute missions. So you could do it 4 days a week, 15 minutes at a time, or an hour on the weekend. And it has been so helpful. And I mean, really, if you use that approach of, just lay out there all the things that you want to accomplish and then break them down into small chunks of time, 5 minutes at a time, 15 minutes at a time, you can develop your own plan for accomplishing any goal, but you have to create that plan and assign a date and a time to them. Right. You're so much more likely to get them done. So that is step number 2.
So step number 2, make a plan, but put deadlines or dates to them.
Absolutely.
That is huge. I was telling you, I was reading your blog post. It's in the description. So first of all, if anybody's tuning in, you can find Melanie at her links there. So we've got links to her blog, her Facebook page. And then there's this article that you wrote, 6 Reasons You're Not Organized Yet. I think that's what it's called.
Right. Why your homeschool isn't organized. Yes.
Yeah. And that first one, that making that plan, just thinking that you're making the plan, you kind of dupe yourself into thinking that you're actually getting organized, but you actually have to do it. And one of the things,
people,
I'm a paper person, and I bury myself in paper. I'm the person that will write notes on the envelope and then, throw all the envelopes away when I clean off the counter, and now I can't find my list. And where did I do that? Right. So I just committed to converting my life to a digital calendar, and I'm struggling with it, but I'm making myself do it every day. First thing in the morning is working on that. But I also want to have tea time with each of my kids.
Okay.
At first I thought every day, and then I thought, Becky, you're crazy. That's not
doing
happen.
Too much.
How about once a week with one kid? That would be a good thing. So so making a plan,
right,
but putting time to it. And I love your planner. So, and I missed a couple comments, so I'm going to go back and just say, Jennifer was talking about her 14-year-old that refuses to ask for help. And I think that it's important that we train our kids to ask for help. So especially in this day and age when they just stare at their phones, it's also really good to teach them to talk to real people. And Penny was saying hello.
Hi, Penny.
And that she was saying so many things distract us.
Right. Yes.
That's one of the reasons we really need a plan, is because life totally gets in the way. So it needs to be a loose plan, I think, in pencil.
Yeah.
And then
I know, Penny.
Okay, I only have 4 kids at home right now, and I can't. I go days where I was like, wait a second, which one are you again? Have I even seen you in a couple days? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I love these. So these, stop trying to do it all and create a plan with a timeline. These are doable. These are achievable.
Okay. And then the final one is stop trying to do it without help. I find that a lot of homeschooling moms just, try to be everything to everyone, and they just are not asking for specific help. Okay. So the first place that I would encourage you to ask for help is from your husband. I talk to a lot of homeschooling moms who say, well, he just doesn't help me. He just doesn't. And 9 times out of 10, I find out that she hasn't even asked him for specific help. She is wanting him to just look and see the need and jump in there. And I just, it's, that would be great. That would be wonderful, but it's not realistic. And so, I mean, that's not realistic with any of our relationships. If you want someone to, take you out for a lunch for your birthday, just say it. Just say, please do it. That's what I want. It would mean a lot to me. People are not mind readers. As overwhelmed and stressed out and busy as you are, everyone else is too. They're not thinking about you. Your husband is probably thinking about his work, maybe his own health, just his own issues, his own family, extended family, all that kind of stuff. And so you have to break in and say, hey, you know what? It would make my day if you could pick up some groceries for me. Could you pick up these things? That would make me so happy. And then, and hello, Amy, by the way. And when he does that, make sure you are just thanking him. Thank you so much. I mean, it helps me out so much when you do those kinds of things. And I think you would be surprised how that can really encourage him to do more to help you. Because this is one of the things that I share over and over and over again in my talks when I speak, is that what our husbands want for us, from us, more than anything, is our happiness.
Right.
If we are happy, so I was talking about at the beginning when I was homeschooling that my husband was unhappy. If I would have been really happy, I don't think he would have been unhappy, even if dinner wasn't ready.
Right.
He was really feeding off of my unhappiness. I was very, very unhappy with how things were going in my life. So if we're happy, our husbands are going to be happy. Okay. So ask your husband for help, but don't stop there. We have tremendous resources in the homeschooling community because we have brilliant mothers who have every kind of gifting you can imagine. So there are homeschooling moms who are brilliant at organizing. If you just cannot figure out how to organize your school space or to do your lesson planning or whatever it is, ask for help. Share childcare responsibilities. You take all the kids and your kids will love it. Have all the kids over at your place while your friends go out on a date night, and then you return the favor. I've done those kinds of things so many times. I've hired a mother's helper who was my niece, who would come over once a week. And my husband works out of our home. And so we were able to go on a date for lunch. And I would use that time to run errands, to do things that I wanted to do without, 3 little ones in my, in my car. So ask for help. even if that's asking for prayer support, it is amazing how powerful that can be in our lives. So don't be afraid to ask for your friends to pray for you. Let them know what's going on with you. It just, I could not do, I can tell you right now, even after homeschooling for over 20 years, I'm in my 21st year right now.
Oh, me too.
Okay. That I could not do what I am doing right now without the support of people like Amy, who popped in to say hi.
Yes.
Amy, huge prayer warrior.
I love this girl. Yeah.
You know, Penny is so supportive, and Penny is not only supportive of me as a personal friend, but Penny is such a wonderful resource in a Facebook group that I have. I know you have a Facebook community, but I have one too called the Homeschool Sanity Circle. And, you know, there are so many groups where we can pop in and say, I am struggling. I don't know what to do. This is the situation. And there are places like Homeschool Sanity Circle and your group and other communities where other homeschooling moms are going to come alongside you without judgment. And they're going to say, you know, this, I think you should try this. This is where I think you could cut back on all the crazy stuff you're trying to do.
Right.
Here's a great plan that you could try to see if this works for you in, you know, achieving the goals that you have for yourself and your family. So those are my magic tips.
Magic tips.
Not so magic. They're not so magic.
But I mean, it's laughing because it sounds funny, but like with all things, it's the simple tips. It's they ring so true. It shouldn't be this easy that we should just take a few things off our plate. It shouldn't be, it doesn't need to be overcomplicated. We just need a plan with a timeline, and it doesn't need to be, it's okay to be vulnerable and to say, hey, I need some prayer. I need some help. I don't know how to solve, like I always tell my boys that I can help them with math right up through algebra. But by the time they get to that college math, I start relying on my 3 mathematicians that I keep in my back pocket.
Right.
And I have Jamie, and I have Sarah, and I have my old neighbor, Craig, who I can call at any time and say, okay, explain this quadratic and why am I not getting to the right? I don't understand. Where am I going wrong?
Right.
And so I have my mathematicians. I have my writing people. I've got my prayer warriors. I call my prayer warriors, I actually have a SEAL team of prayer warriors that if something's really going bad, I've got this group of 3 to 4 gals that they hit their knees, and it's huge.
Yes,
we cannot do it alone.
No.
And the only thing that I would add to that when you're asking for help, especially online, is to pick your favorites and to keep your list kind of short.
Yes.
Because, oh my gosh, if you ask a homeschool question to a group that has 562 homeschool moms in it, you might just get 562 answers to your question.
True.
So making sure that you're actually asking the people that are resonating with you, do they have their that same, you know, are they coming from, like what you were saying at the beginning about your husband not being happy, and that him saying, oh, well, that's your area and that's my area. In my world, that's the same thing. My husband works from home. My husband, he is like, he's got his thing and I've got my part in the homeschool. And there are things that he doesn't help do, and that works beautifully in our family. But if I'm asking questions about things that are, you know, related to my husband in a group that doesn't have that same mindset, it might turn into a husband bashing session. And I don't do that. So it's
right.
So and that's choose carefully.
Right. And that's why I can recommend my community, because I just honestly have never seen that happen in there. And I'm sure you have that same experience too, which it's really, but that is great advice. You know, make sure that it's a safe community. Oh, that's very sweet, Amy.
That is very sweet. Yay. And Penny was saying she loved the SEAL team. I think it's important that, you know, I found myself to be extremely blessed to be a brand new homeschooler. Actually got invited to a play group that was a prayer play group with, there were 4 seasoned homeschool moms in this group. And 2 of them were like old school teachers. And they were the mom that taught me wisdom, like, oh, don't worry, kids have 4 surfaces to their shirts. If the front of their shirt gets dirty, you just turn their shirt around. And if that gets dirty, you turn it inside out. And so, and she's like, showers are optional, Becky. You don't need a shower. What are you thinking? Or freezer meals, or, just all these things. So, so just descending the plane, the tips aren't hard, and it's easy to overcomplicate everything.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need math curriculum, tests, quizzes, manipulatives, all these 50,000 worksheets and alternate extension activities to teach kids how to count to 10. You just don't. It's like,
yeah,
don't. So keeping it simple.
Yes.
Stop trying to do it all. I'm in that season right now where I'm trying to simplify everything, because I think for some of us that have the older kids, it's easy to get duped into thinking that we have to get all those academics in before they leave the house, when really they need more of us. They need more conversation.
Yeah.
They need more, pearls of wisdom wrapped in story, just hanging out. They just need us.
Yes.
They don't need go write this essay and do these reading comprehension questions and write, and all those things are good. Activities are good.
Sure.
But not to just fill up their lives with busy work, just so that it looks like school, so that, we don't have to compete with that at all.
Right.
So I feel so invigorated. I want you to
good.
Hold up your planner thing again.
Okay, sure.
I wanted to see that. So what does it look like? Can you give me an idea of what that would do for me?
Absolutely. So, you've got you have a regular calendar page, which I'm not going to show, but anytime you need a form to complete a challenge, you have it right there. This is my favorite page in the planner, because it's the daily planning page. And I can just tell you very quickly. So you get you start the day. There we go. You start the day with time with God and in his word and what he is saying to you. And with gratitude, which I think is huge. And then your response. So I usually use that for my prayer. Like I pray many prayers during the day, but it's like one key prayer that's in response to what I've read in God's word. And then you choose just 3 priorities for the day, and then just 3 other tasks. And that is because after a year's worth of research, I discovered that on average, I could complete 6 tasks a day. No more, not 25, not 50, which is what I would like to do, but just 6. So it's you can accomplish it. You can get it done if you have just 6 tasks.
Okay.
We talked about here, well, you have an organizing focus. So I ask you to think about, what are you actually going to do every single day that helps to move you forward in your organizing goal? What's your relationship focus? So do you have a child who needs more of your attention? Do you have a husband who needs more of your attention? And then sometimes I will use it as a character trait reminder for myself. Like today I'm going to focus on being patient, or I really want to be fun today. I want to be the fun mom.
I'd like to do that at least once a year. Can I?
Right. Well, Amy, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that commendation. And then what's for dinner? Because, that was a problem for me. So I need to know, what am I having for dinner? I need to have a plan. And then the final thing that I will share that is a part of this planner is a place for you to plan how you're going to reward yourself for that day. What will you do that will help to make you happy? So some things I put there are going out. Maybe I'm going to watch a particular movie or show that I'm looking forward to. I'm going to read a book that I've been wanting to read. go shopping for something. It could be just any simple thing. It could be, I'm going to sit and have some chocolate. That's what I'm going to do.
Right.
Yeah. So that is the planner that goes with the Organized Homeschool Life book.
Okay. And I love that because I need help organizing. I need help organizing. like my life. This is now see that yeah, there's my little armory. And I show that on purpose because I'm comfortable in my disorder, in that there's a level of chaos that I just don't have time to get to everything. And one of the things that I have to let go is that expectation that I can do it all.
Right.
I can't right now. I don't have enough drivers. I don't have enough cars. People need to be all over the place. And I have to choose which things are going to cause me to be happy Becky versus a psychotic Becky. I don't want to be that way.
Right.
But I'm struggling to figure out, like, one of the things that you said, I think it's in that article, is that about reinventing the systems, you know, that was that in that article?
It was. Yes, it was.
That, you know, rather than reinventing a system that can work for me, starting with something that is already created and crafted and making it fit is a good place to start. So
a really good place to start.
Yeah. And so anyway, and I think I'm really cool. I'm not cool. I'm really excited to take a look at it. So, and Penny was saying when the kids are little, order out the window. Hey, Penny, I don't think it's any easier when the kids get older. I don't know. I was telling my youngest son today, I said, one of the things that happens as you get older is that you have your life and you keep adding things to it. So, now you have to take care of the laundry, and now you have to change the oil on the car, and now you have to balance your checkbook and get to work and take care of the kids. And so if you're not careful, you're just going to fill up your life with all these things that you have to do, and you're never going to be able to breathe. So you constantly need to be looking at your day and saying what can go, because it all can't fit. You have to have balance in your day. So well, I think that's it. So as a recap, first of all, Melanie, thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for sharing your heart about sanity. When I look at your website and I look at your things, this is a passion subject for you, because I know, like, in my universe, you see moms like me that are not thriving or that are struggling. And I am thankful. I mean, I'm surrounded by people that are fantastic. My kids are amazing. My husband's extremely supportive, and it works, but it's not always easy. So I appreciate you being willing to share this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're going to stop trying to do it all.
Yes.
We're going to make a plan and set a date and a time stamp on it. And we're going to stop trying to do it without help. Our husbands cannot read our minds, so we need, and that's okay.
Right.
I mean, it makes us laugh, but I still expect him to. Gosh darn it! Can't you see that laundry needs to go? Like, I don't say it, but it causes these. It causes ick berries, or yuck berries, I call them, when you have these thoughts that you want somebody to do something and then they don't do it. It's like they don't even have a clue. My husband's so busy thinking about how he's providing for our family that he doesn't even see the laundry or whatever the thing is.
Right.
So asking for help, thanking people when they do help, and then being creative with where we find help. So with child helpers, kids that are looking for volunteer hours, the grandma next door, you know, this homeschool friends and groups online. So I think that's all really, really amazing advice. So,
well, thanks. I'm glad. I hope it was helpful.
Yeah, no, it was. So thank you. Don't go away. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Melanie speaks gold-plated words. If you don't have seasoned, confident, homeschool moms that can breathe truth over you, I want you to know that that's what they look like. Melanie, that's what they sound like. When you're looking for people to speak words over you that cause you to be more sane, more peaceable, more loving, more kind, you just look at the evidence in their life. Are they peaceable? Are they loving? Are they kind? Are they sane? I love her heart. And so if you're not a part of her Facebook group, I'm going to encourage you right now to hop over and like her page and follow her. Look at that article on the 6 reasons that your homeschool still isn't organized. It is, notice my brain I have like the memory of Dory from Finding Nemo. I have to keep looking at the title because my mind is not organized. But it's filled with all of these tips and wisdoms and more that can help you be more confident in your homeschooling. And more than confident, just be feeling like you can breathe. So I hope you are as blessed and encouraged as I was. And I just thank you for hanging out with us this afternoon. And I hope you go on to have a blessed day. Bye-bye.